history of this piano is so rich with so many incredible composers and pianists having performed on it and used it for composing. It may be the most historically significant performance piano in the Washington, D.C. area.
I played it quite a bit before we tore it down. I mean, it's a really nice piano, and so we want to bring back exactly what it was, and then maybe, since we want it to last 100 years before it gets worked on again, maybe put a few of these reinforcements in there, which we did. But overall, the piano had a beautiful singing tone. It had a nice feel to the action.
So we tried our best to make really an idealized version of what this piano would have been like in 1927 when it was originally manufactured, as opposed to taking a new piano and putting it in the old case. It was clear that the piano needed a new soundboard, and therefore it needs new strings and a new pin block. Also, the playing mechanism on the piano had, in order for that to match the new performance of the belly area, the soundboard and the strings and the pin block, it was clear that that all had to be renewed.
This is the piano's action, which is basically everything from the key to the hammer hitting the string and making noise. What ends up happening is the weight of the hammer has to be counterbalanced in the weight of the key. We start off with a key that has no weight in it, and then we add in the appropriate weight until we get the precise measurement that we want to concert specifications of how heavy the piano should be.
The lighter hammer tends to sing better. It has less of a sort of percussive attack as it hits the strings, and many pianists find that they can play actually more softly with a greater degree of control. We chose, for instance, a type of wood in the soundboard that was the closest to what would have been in this piano originally, which is a white spruce, which we source from eastern Canada. The white spruce is not quite as loud, but we find that it's going to have a little bit more of a characteristic warmth and singing quality to it, which we think is extremely appropriate for this vintage of Steinway, so that's very important to us. Process of just doing the finish work on this piano, polishing it by hand, getting it to this very beautiful level, you end up with somewhere between 250 and 300 man-hours just in the finish of this piano. And the reason that's interesting is that is actually longer than many current manufacturers take to make an entire piano. Our hope is that the pianists who are performing on this piano feel really liberated, feel like it's helping their interpretation, it's helping them communicate with the audience, it's allowing them to do whatever they can imagine, and because anybody who's going to give a concert on this piano is also going to feel the weight of its history and the significance of that history.